It's not. It's completed because systems don't respond to volume, they respond to threat. And what this proved unmistakably is that disclosure itself is not a threat. So I'm going to show you what's actually happening when files like this drop. The system is not asking, is this true? It's asking, does this interrupt continuity? And when the answer is no, the response is automatic. Slow it down, spread it out, turn it into a process, let attention fragment, let time finish the job, because time is the best solvent there is. And that's not a choice. It's how large systems preserve themselves. So every new batch is not reopening a story. Not at all. It's reaffirming the outcome. Every release answers the same question again and again recursively. How much can be revealed without forcing any redesign? And the answer keeps coming back the exact same every single batch. And that's the uncomfortable part that people don't want to get to on the news, because what we're watching is not a reckoning, it's instruction, right? It's instruction. Not instruction in committing harm, but instruction in how to remain survivable inside the system. It says you don't need secrecy, you need dispersion. That's what the files say. It says you don't need silence, you need time. That's all they say. It says you don't need innocence, you need to avoid becoming a low-bearing point. And most of all, it says as long as continuity holds, everything else is negotiable. I just read to you everything that the file said right there. And that's why absence matters more than the pages. Over 1 million pages. I want you to really sit with that. No structural response. Nothing. No line drawn, no irreversible rule, no moment where the system said this stops now. That absence is not confusion. That's the signal right there. They just responded to you. That is the systemic response, the silence you're hearing right now, because systems teach through repetition. And the lesson being taught here is simple. Nothing about this itself requires change. That is the lesson of the Epstein files, the whole thing right here. And that's why the story feels flat. And that's why outrage doesn't even accumulate into anything. And each release feels smaller than the last. And why the response is always procedural instead of decisive, because the calculation already ran. It's already done. The result was already acceptable. So when people ask, why release anything if nothing follows? The answer is because releasing without design stabilizes the system. I'm going to tell you why they did it again. When somebody asks you, why release anything if nothing follows? The answer is because releasing without redesign stabilizes the system. It vents the pressure. It proves resilience. It demonstrates absorbability. It is not exposure failing. That is not exposure failing. It's exposure being used. And you got to know when exposure is being used. And once that's demonstrated, the story is literally over. Not morally. I'm talking about structurally, it is over. Because from that point on, nobody is guessing. They're just watching precedent. That's all it is. They're learning what triggers charge, what triggers change, and which ones doesn't. And this one didn't do anything. Nothing. So I don't want any more files. I don't want another batch at all. I don't want to even see another release that teaches the same lesson again to the perpetrators and the victims. We just need the Epstein Act. We need it. We need it today. I'm just being honest with you, because until something forces a redesign, every page you drop is not justice to anyone. It's instruction on how to survive here. That is exactly what the Epstein files are showing people, are showing the rich right now. Instructions on how to survive here. And the moment that nothing happened, everything important already did.
That's pretty much what sums it up for me, at least. You've been sitting on this information for decades, and you've been bribing people, you've been offing people, you've been silencing people, you've been doing the Macarena with accountability with this whole thing forever. And we all know what's really going on, as much as we want to pretend like we don't. We do. What's the point of bringing all of it out now? We want the files. Everybody wants the files. Everybody wants to see who's on there. Everybody wants to see justice served, but justice is not going to be served. Everything is on a checker and chessboard with pieces being maneuvered strategically.
You mean to tell me Epstein is alive? Okay, well, anonymous person made a report in 2019 that worked at this jail, and it was included in the file. So somebody saw him get wheeled out. They pretty much opened the gate, which they never do on weekends, and they took a trip van out. The trip van never signed in. None of the nurses ever spoke to Epstein, ever, who apparently, usually are the ones who mark people as deceased. So none of this really adds up. I watched this documentary and I instantly thought, okay, he's not dead. Like,
I would love nothing more than to see every single criminal that is involved in these cases, from the trafficking all the way down to putting stuff in our food, go to jail, put them all behind bars. Please hurry up. But that's not the country we live in. And unless we say, all right, I'm tired of this, are you tired of it? Okay, we both tired of it. All right, let's fire 5 more people. Let's fire 10 more people. Let's fire 20 more people. Let's fire 100 more people until we start collectively going at their neck about this stuff. Nothing's going to change. But I am curious to know what y'all thought about what he said. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Thought he had some excellent points, some excellent points. Let's have a conversation.
Aboard the flight, this is pilot who shot the talking. We going back to Memphis and coming straight from New Orleans. The estimated time of arrival is about an hour. And I can turn your ghost if you try and play with my power. So when you look up and see the sun flash and stay in your seat, at the flight attendant say you making trouble, then we got beef. The turbulence might get rocky, you better not spill your food. This is getting plain if you get it messy.